Hello, everyone. So I wanted to add this bonus video to share with you a tool that I personally have used in personal relationships as well as in an organization that I co-facilitate. And it can be used in any of those any of those ways. It can be used for, again, personal relationships, families, and organizations. It's just a way to co-create together, to make decisions together, and to organize the decisions that are made within the authentic dialogue, and to have regular check-ins to move the dialogue along, decide what's being tried out and implementing new culture. So I'm going to run through some of how this is done. Some organizations do this with this tool that I'm using here called Trello, which is an online app and online and mobile app. And some organizations use whiteboards with sticky notes. So, or families even use this as well. So this is a process that has been adopted across various, again, organizations, families, etc. And I'm going to share it with you here. So as you can see here, the first thing, this follows along with the training that you just went through, which is goals and core values. So this is a place where you can place your goals and your core values. So for the example of the family that was used in the training, it says the goal is to have a loving bond that supports and strengthens one another. And underneath of that, I put the core values: empathy, unconditional love, mutual respect, and trust. Again, these are the anchors of a relationship or organization or culture, right? Or family, as in this example. And again, every time you have a check-in, for example, let's just say your family decided you were going to check in with each other every 2 weeks, sit down as a family and have a discussion about the health and the culture and the relationships. And when you start each meeting, everyone looks at the goals, and then you kind of think through, is there anything that is impeding on everyone feeling good about that goal? And that's something you think through. And then also you look at your core values and you think through, is there anything that has been happening that has been impeding on or prohibiting those core values from flourishing? And what you'll see here in the core values, you can do a lot of things with this. You can click on it. And what I did was I added the description of the definition of what empathy is in here. And then under activity, I added a comment just as an example, whereas a family wanted to just have a running conversation about this particular, this particular core value. And there could be conversation, there could be resources dropped in here, there could be videos about empathy, just different things so that the family can continue to grow in this core value. And that's something you could do for each core value. And of course, you can add core values. Now, when you sit down for your check-in, either prior to the check-in or during the check-in, this is an opportunity for the family to discuss and bring out different awarenesses, different things that they that are, again, blocking or prohibiting or getting in the way from, in the way of the goal, reaching its full potential. And these are some examples that I put here that you can see. And for example, I'll read this one. Ade forgot to do his chores twice last week. That's just an awareness that someone brought to the forefront in the meeting, in the check-in. Another one is, Kia doesn't knock on my door before coming into my room. And you'll notice that I put respect, because anytime you can tie an awareness to one of the core values, that's even more powerful, as we discussed in the training, when you can speak using the language of your goals and your core values. It helps everyone stay, focused on the main things. And once you flesh out, your various awarenesses and you discuss them, you then say, okay, so what can we try out based on the awarenesses that were brought? What can we try out that everyone consents to, that everyone can feel good about? What feels like a win-win, something that we can try? And the awesome thing about just trying it out is it takes the pressure of having to make decisions be final, because things change, things evolve, and things need to be tested out before they are implemented into the family culture, the organization culture, or the relationship. So in this example, what you'll see here is typically what we'll do is we'll take the awareness, and this together as a family or organization or couple will choose something that we can try. So you'll see here that we'll try that Ade will set reminders in his phone about his chores so that he doesn't forget. Now, typically we would move this over like this, and then we would take the awareness and put it inside under the description, like you see here, so that what we're trying out is facing forward, or is present out here on the main screen. So then here's another example based on this awareness. Dad tells me what he wants me to do with my life, but he doesn't take the time to ask me what it is that I want to do. He doesn't try to understand me. Okay, and that probably can be tied to empathy. So something that the family decide together, dad listens and Kia expresses what she feels, and maybe mom and Ade or any other family member in this hypothetical scenario, give some thoughts and ideas, and together they decide that dad will listen to Kia and allow her to determine her life's direction. He will offer support to her that aligns with her vision for her life. And from there, all those things that they're going to try goes into this section, and then the family goes on with living their life. And then if they decide their next check-in again is on a bi-weekly frequency, then 2 weeks later they come together and they talk about it. How has it been going? And if it's been going well, they move it over to practicing one. Okay, so you'll see here where I move these over to practicing one. Now, again, typically you see it left here just for the example, but typically you would just drag it over like this, or move the sticky note on the refrigerator, or however you do it, or on the whiteboard. Different organizations, families, couples do it differently. So again, so once you move it over, it's in practicing, okay? And the key is that each check-in, you talk about it, you see, has it been working? If it's not working, you may decide to tweak it and change it. And every time you decide to tweak it and change it, again, it has to be something that everyone consents to, everyone feels good about, everyone feels like their voice is heard. So if setting reminders on the phone is working and Ade has been getting his chores done, great. If that hasn't been working and Ade is still struggling with getting his chores done, then again, we put our heads together and we decide, so what else can we try? What else can we practice, right? And then we adjust it in here. And then we move on to the following, the next 2 weeks, we check back in to see how it's been going. And if things continue to progress, you move it over to practicing 2, then practicing 3, checking in every 2 weeks, making tweaks, adjusting, making sure everyone agrees and buys in. And then once you've seen something's been working, then it's implemented. And once it's implemented, that just means that it's been working. It's a part of the culture. It's something that everyone feels good about. It's not something that, one person has to carry any burden or resentment because something's not getting done. Things don't fester when you have regular check-ins. Things don't bubble up under the surface, and then there's no big blow-ups because you're regularly checking in with one another. Everyone feels like their voice is being heard. No one is saying that is telling other people, what they need to do from an authority standpoint. Everyone's getting to make the decisions together. And this is how you create healthy culture within couples, families, and organizations. So I hope this helped.